Hello and welcome back to the Batcast podcast, where we would discuss everything mental health and Batman related, and the ways in which those two intertwine. And today we will be doing a part 2 of the part 1 for Inmates of Arkham Asylum and seeing if they actually belong. Arkham Asylum, home for the criminally insane, contains some of Batman's worst and most prominent rogues. In the previous video, last week's, we questioned if Batman's rogues, such as Penguin, Mr. Freeze, Man-Bat, Two-Face, Scarecrow, Harley Quinn, and the Joker actually belong in Arkham using New Jersey state law concerning the insanity plea. Because we know that Gotham is based in New Jersey, the laws would be the same for Gotham's rogues as any other criminal in the state. Today we will be discussing more of these rogues. However, if you've not seen last week's video, go and check it out before proceeding with this one, because I lay out both the history of Arkham Asylum and some of the laws pertaining to the insanity plea in New Jersey. Today's roster of criminals will be similar. However, I want to see if at least one of the criminals could be administered into the asylum, contrary to last week's video. Even though I thought Man-Bat was probably the most likely candidate to end up in Arkham, he was not. So, today we will be discussing a new roster: Clayface, Killer Moth, Firefly, Condiment King, Victor Zsasz, Bane, and Catwoman. And as the previously mentioned, a lot of the same legal guidelines will be used in this video as the previous video, so check out that video if you haven't already. I will begin by stating the background of the character, their worst crimes, and their psychological disorders as assessed by mental health professionals, after which I will attempt to show evidence to why they should or should not be incarcerated inside of Arkham Asylum. So with all that out of the way, let's discuss the inmates of Arkham Asylum and if they would belong using current New Jersey and United States laws. Clayface. A famous actor being recast as the main role, Victor Carlo was driven mad to kill the cast and crew of the film he was working on. However, he was stopped by the Dark Knight and Robin. The character was eventually reimagined to be a former actor disfigured by chemicals who now has the abilities to shapeshift into anyone or anything he wants. Carlos's worst crimes include murder in Detective Comics number 40 and Batman One Day Clayface, impersonation as shown in Batman Hush, framing in No Man's Land, and attempted mass mutation in Batman Rise of Sinzu, the game. According to psychological assessments of Carlo, Clayface may suffer from dissociative identity disorder, body dysmorphia, borderline personality disorder, antisocial traits, post-traumatic stress disorder, and depression that may verge towards suicidal ideation. Killer Moth. Primarily being known as a rogue for Batman and Robin, Killer Moth has had his fair share of run-ins with the Dark Knight. However, being a rather unaccomplished criminal, Killer Moth wants to emulate Batman. However, his focus was on committing crime rather than stopping it. While he built a name for himself after taking down Barbara Gordon's Batgirl, Jory Walker's the Killer Moth fame was destroyed after being taken out by Batman. Killer Moth's worst crimes include kidnapping in Detective Comics 173, attempted assassination in Batman Arkham Asylum, and formation of villainous alliance in Batman 969. Jory's psychological disorders include delusions, narcissism, obsessive-compulsive traits, and inferiority complexes. Firefly. Garfield Linz, the Firefly, is a criminal whose focus is on chaos caused by fires. Initially being a one-off villain for Batman, Linz began to make more appearances in Batman comics starting in the 1990s. While Linz is a rather unaccomplished criminal, he is much more of a threat to Batman than Killer Moth. Linz's worst crimes include arson in Batman Arkham Origins and Batman Arkham Knight, murder in Batman Arkham Origins, terrorism in Batman Arkham Origins, attempted mass murder in Batman Nightfall, and kidnapping and mutilation in No Man's Land. Furthermore, Linz shows signs of paranoia, post-traumatic stress disorder, disfigurement-induced body dysmorphia, antisocial personality traits, delusional personality traits, and obsessive-compulsive disorder. Condiment King. a petty criminal who uses condiments to induce anaphylactic shock. This villain is usually used as a comedic relief in the Batman show or movie, and is not usually considered a credible threat to the Dark Knight. Formerly a stand-up comedian, Condiment King turned rogue after the Joker brainwashed him into fighting for crime. Condiment King's worst crimes include robbery and assault in Batman the Animated Series, kidnapping and attempted murder in Birds of Prey number 37, and assault in the Final Crisis Aftermath. Psychological disturbances may include delusional disorder, obsessive-compulsive disorder, and antisocial personality traits. Victor Zsasz. Being one of the strongest individuals on this list for potential incarceration in Arkham Asylum, Victor Zsasz is a prolific serial killer who carves each victim's life he takes on his skin. Zsasz has no modus operandi other than killing his victims and leaving them in lifelike stances. Zsasz operates on the spirit that all life is meaningless and that only through death can he give his victims life. Zsasz's worst crimes include murder in Batman Shadow of the Bat number 1, Batman Arkham City, Batman Arkham Knight, kidnapping in Batman Arkham Asylum, Batman Arkham City, assault in Detective Comics number 815, holding hostages in Batman The Last Arkham and Batman Arkham Asylum, death threats in Batman Begins, and Man-Bat transformation in The Dark Knight number 1. Psychological assessments of Victor Zsasz conclude that he suffers from antisocial personality traits, sadistic personality traits, schizophrenia, nihilism, and obsessive-compulsive disorder. Bane. Being born in a Santa Prisca prison, Bane built up his body and mind inside of the prison walls until he was used as a test subject by the prison staff with a new drug they called Venom. Venom turned Bane into a monster with incredible strength and agility. Eventually breaking out, Bane went to Gotham City to fight Batman, eventually breaking the Dark Knight's back. However, Bane was defeated by Jean-Paul Valley in Batman's absence. Bane's worst crimes include assault in Batman Nightfall, Batman and Robin, The Dark Knight Rises, terrorism in The Dark Knight Rises, manipulation in The Dark Knight Rises, and mass murder in The Dark Knight Rises. Bane's psychological analysis includes antisocial personality traits, narcissism, post-traumatic stress disorder, and addiction. Catwoman. Selina Kyle is a cat-themed burglar who is usually presented with mixed loyalties in comic, movie, and game representations. Even with these mixed loyalties, however, Selina is usually more reliant on whatever helps her the most. She and the Dark Knight also maintain a flirtatious romance in comics, movies, and video games. Catwoman's worst crimes include burglary in Batman Arkham City, Batman the Animated Series, The Dark Knight Rises, and Batman Returns, assault in Batman Returns, Batman the Animated Series, The Dark Knight Rises, and Batman Arkham City, and breaking and entering in Batman Arkham City, The Dark Knight Rises, and Batman Returns. Possible psychological disturbances may include antisocial personality disorder, narcissism, and kleptomania elements. Now, with each of these villains' backgrounds and psychological profile, we can see the evidence to support or undermine their insanity plea. Clayface. New Jersey law requires that the insanity plea is only valid if the person was unable to understand that the action was wrong or that they perpetrated the action consciously. In many versions of Carlo, Clayface is only disfigured physically and is completely fine mentally outside of the psychological disturbances. In Batman the Animated Series, we see that Clayface shows moments of psychotic breaks, however.
No! Turn them off! You can play those roles again, Hagen.
And in Arkham City, Carlos's rage leads him to act irrationally.
Ladies and gentlemen, for one night only, standing in for yours truly, and doing a damn fine job of it, I give you Clayface.
weren't even supposed to be in here, Carlo. Why sign up with Joker?
The role of a lifetime!
While Clayface shows that he has partial awareness of his actions, he is not fully aware of the wrongdoing or the act that he is perpetrating at the time of the crime. Considering the weight of evidence, Clayface fits the legal criterion for insanity plea under New Jersey and U.S. laws in many instances of his criminal behavior. Therefore, commitment of Arkham Asylum would be the most likely legal outcome rather than standard incarceration. Thus, we have our first Arkham inmate in the series. Considering this as our 8th inmate we have looked at, it's surprising that it's taken this long. Killer Moth. Killer Moth shows signs of delusions and erratic behavior. However, he also shows narcissistic traits and a sense of grandeur. Killer Moth seems to understand that his actions are also wrong in this clip.
No, Silky! He is evil! You belong with your Knorfka! You belong with me!
Using New Jersey law and Killer Moth's overall understanding of his wrongdoing, we can conclude that it is unlikely that he would be committed to Arkham Asylum. Firefly. Garfield Lynn shows signs of paranoia, PTSD, trauma, and psychotic behaviors. However, this alone is not enough to incarcerate him inside of Arkham. In Arkham Origins and Arkham Knight, Firefly shows little regard for human life while committing his crimes. While Lynn seems to understand that what he's doing is wrong and that he is driven by vengeance,
Firefly. You beat me once, but that's a long time ago.
You're going back to jail, Lynn.
Scarecrow promised me Gotham. Tinder for my flame. Still playing with fire, Batman?
It's over, Firefly.
Never. Gotham burns. Then you burn with it.
he is also controlled by impulse and not reason. For this reason, Firefly would not be incarcerated inside of Arkham Asylum. Condiment King. While Condiment King's crimes may seem horrible, they come off more as a bad joke or poorly thought pranks, acting more on eccentricity and poor judgment. Furthermore, while he has some psychological disturbances, Condiment King is not psychotic, which leads his actions to be rational and not spur of the moment. For these reasons, he does not meet the criteria to claim mental insanity and would, therefore, not be admitted to Arkham. Victor Zsasz. Zsasz in most portrayals is shown to be erratic and psychotic. However, his compulsive and nihilistic views of human life and the world lead him to commit his crimes, and being aware of both his surroundings and what he is doing in the Arkham games.
I see anything that looks even a little bit like a bat, and this guard dies. Do you hear me?
Maybe he doesn't believe I'm going to kill you all. This is not over. It cannot be over. My blade will bathe in the crimson rivers of blood that will pour from the holes I cut into your body. You cannot deny me the mark. I need to make the mark. It's all I have left.
Thus, while he's mentally disturbed, Zsasz does not meet the criteria for mental insanity and would not be admitted to Arkham. Bane. Bane is a highly intellectual individual, while also being extremely dangerous for Batman. However, an issue occurs with his mental sanity test when considering any potential effects that the Venom has on a rational mind. In the Nightfall comics and The Dark Knight Rises, Bane clearly plans his attack against Gotham City, which is an immediate disqualifier for the insanity plea. However, does the Venom negate this point? We see in Arkham Asylum that venom degrades the mind over time, which may increase the way in which logical decisions can be reached. However, much like Man-Bat's assessment in the previous video, we must look at Bane's actions before taking the venom. Was he fully aware of the ways that venom would cause harm to his brain? In Arkham Origins, it seems like the answer is yes, as Bane points out that the venom, or TM1, does cause brain degradation over time. Thus, we can conclude that he is not insane even if the venom affects his logical faculties. Catwoman. Catwoman, much like the other members on this list, has a history of mental illness. However, mental illness does not equate to psychosis. In almost every iteration of Catwoman, she plans her attacks and understands that what she's doing is wrong when she cooperates or even runs from police.
Okay, you win. And by the way, Batgirl's innocent. She was acting under coercion.
More than you will ever know.
For these reasons, it's very unlikely that Catwoman would be sent to Arkham Asylum. So that is it. This week was extremely short, an extremely short list of villains, but I still hope that it was helpful and entertaining in any way that it could have been. If you guys want to request any villains specifically to look at in the series, I would love to be able to. As of now, I don't know, maybe we can find some cool way to show all the prisoners that we have locked inside of Arkham Asylum, but I might, figure something out to show that, Clayface is the first prisoner, and then we can add on as we continue with the series. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed, please like and subscribe, and I would greatly appreciate it. And yeah, until next week, let me know also how the audio and recordings are. Yeah, just for future reference so that I can know if I need to turn things down or turn things up, because I'm never too sure. Alrighty, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.